that boy Wonder, yeah, that boy that's doing wonders. Yeah, I'm never gonna wander, yeah, my man, I'm never going under.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Gare Fitness. This is discussion vlog 2, and today we're going to be speaking about supplementation and how it complements diet. Now, a lot of things that I've noticed people talk about is when they are first starting working out and they want to, start taking supplements and they don't know what to take, or what kind of brands is a better brand, how much to invest and stuff like that. And then they start spending unnecessary money on protein supplements and mass gainers and things like that. And they feel like that's going to be the key to success, I guess, when it comes to body development and muscle growth. And the thing is that first thing we're going to talk about is protein. Protein as a supplement, when you buy it in a store, be it a whey isolate, a whey compound, what is it, hydro isolate? I think the other one's hydro. Those are exactly what they say they are. They're supplements, so they're to supplement your diet. Protein, I think people have the misconception that protein puts on weight, and protein is used for muscle recovery and repair. And in a sense, yes, it builds muscle, and in that sense, yes, it would help you put on weight, but it alone is not beneficial. I mean, there's different factors that you have to consider. I mean, your body also converts protein to a fuel source as well, other than carbohydrates and your fats. So protein alone, it's a no-go, and that's something I always tell anybody who asks, when they first want to know what should they start taking, how much they should invest and stuff. I would simply recommend protein, and I always base that on making sure that your diet is intact. Now, another thing that people speak about a lot of times is mass gainers, and I've never been fond of mass gainers. I feel like they're a huge waste of money, because a lot of times they come in like a tub of 40 scoops, or 40 to $60 tub or a bag, and it's got like 16 scoops, and each serving is 4 servings, and it's running about 500 to 1,000 calories. And I mean, the quality of the calorie to me in a mass gainer, personally, I think is bullshit, because I think you're just drinking liquid, whatever they're putting into that mass gainer. You never really know what marketers nowadays are putting into it, and a lot of times they'll say, mass gainer, get big, put on weight and stuff like that. But I mean, yes, you technically would get big from it, because your calorie loading, especially when you're on it, a lot of times people who start taking mass gainers are ones who are not eating enough, and they use it as supplementation for their food. And I think in that sense, if you are doing that, and you just want to load calories, you're not worried about the quality of what you're taking, I think that would be a great way to go, is give a mass gainer a shot, see what you get from it. But don't expect to get maximum results out of a poor quality nutritional intake, especially when it's a supplement, one, and two, the quality of it is not that good. The next topic I want to speak about is the essential supplements to take. A lot of times people will, have a curiosity of, should I buy this, and this, and the next thing you know, they've only been working out for about 2 weeks or so, and they've spent, $200-300 on supplements, hoping it's just going to blow them up. When people ask me, the first thing I recommend is protein, and that's it when you're first starting out, because one thing that I think people have to get through is whether they're going to be serious about, body development and muscle development and stuff like that, and how consistent they're going to be. And a lot of times people will start spending money on stuff and then start quitting, and then the products sit there, then they'll start up again, take more of their products and quit, and then they go spend more money on a product because they're not seeing results fast enough, so they start dumping money into products thinking that's going to be the great key. And that's not the way to go. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll recommend simple protein, simple brand, something like a Muscle Farm or BSN Synthesis, and that's it, for like the first month or so. And then the next product I'll probably recommend is a creatine, but a lot of times I don't even mention that at all to people who've come to me for simple advice on supplementation, just because I don't think people fully grasp what creatine is. When people think of creatine, they think of just putting on weight and getting big in a couple weeks. Creatine, the way I consider it is it's a molecule that when you ingest it, it pulls water into your muscles, and that you will have a fuller look to yourself, but it's used so that your body doesn't, I guess, drain out as fast in the gym, and you can push out a little longer. And one thing people don't do when they're on creatine is to stay hydrated, and I believe the molecule, like I said, I consider it a molecule of creatine, expands when you're not consuming enough water, and that's what causes the people to have that bloated look to them, especially when they're on the loading phase of creatine, because usually when you first start taking creatine, there is a slight loading phase to it. I think it's 4 or 5 scoops a day for about a week or something like that. And there are different kinds of creatine as well. You have creatine monohydrate, you have creatine ester, then there's hydrochloride or hydrochlorate, and there's a bunch of different brands. I'm not going to go into them. Simple creatine I always recommend, because it has the most studies done with it, is definitely monohydrate. And that, I mean, I still take that myself. That's always what I recommend. If anyone wants a video about different brands of creatine or different types, I will go into that later on down the road. And the next thing I want to do is speak about branched chain amino acids. When I first started taking those, I was probably like 19 or 20 or so, and I mean, I just thought they were complete bullshit. But there's just different things that you learn over time about branched chains, that you know there are a bunch of different kinds of branched chains, and you know that your protein doesn't have them. You don't get them from all of your foods, and a lot of times people don't have the right intake of proper dieting, and that's why supplementation comes into play, you know, with omega-3s and omega-6 and different fatty acids and multivitamins and stuff like that, is because people don't get everything they need from food. And branched chain amino acids, I think, are great when it comes to just, you know, needing a little more of a boost of recovery. I know some of them have a little bit of a energy spike in them, and sometimes I like taking that just to get myself back to a normal balance of energy. But it's definitely a supplement you should take. It's not something you should take and then skip out on protein or your dieting and stuff like that. And another thing is that there are, you'll see a lot of protein, I shouldn't say protein, I should say branched chain amino supplements on shelves, because a lot of them come from different brands of companies who make protein. And they'll talk about, you know, this branched chain amino acid does this one does this and that. First, I should go into what branched chain amino acids are. You have, I guess, your muscle. What muscles are made up of is protein, and then what proteins are made up of is amino acids, and then what amino acids are made up of is branched chain amino acids. And you have I think it's about 7 or 9 different branched chain amino acids. And a lot of times they'll speak about, you know, it'll get you looking like this, you know, it'll get you huge and ripped and stuff like that. But it's simply just another kind of supplementation to take, just like they have glutamine on the shelves and so many different things, you know, that I've personally never tried. You know, someday I will try it and I'll do a review on them and see, you know, how I feel it benefits me or not. But if you ever look at the ratios on them, the most studied one to date is a 2 to 1 to 1 ratio. I believe it's L-leucine, valine, and isoleucine. Leucine is used for leucine is the most anabolic branch chain there is, and it's used for muscle repair only. Valine and I believe the other one is isoleucine are used for recovery as well. They're used for a mix of both muscle repair and recovery, and then, you know, giving your body a little more fuel, I guess, energy wise, because a lot of times when I take my branch chains after I work out, I feel a little bit better, and that's just based on the recovery of them. So if you ever see them with, you know, like a 2 to 1 to 1 ratio or a 5 to 1 to 1 ratio or anything like that, I would start off with at least the basis of a 2 to 1 to 1 ratio. Just because the study's been done on it, I'm not going to recommend something that's not, you know, been studied right now. Personally, I've been just kind of playing around with a higher level of leucine just to see if there's a little more anabolism to it. So I've been taking, you know, something with a 10 to 1 to 1 ratio or a 12 to 1 to 1 ratio, which I just picked up something today that had that in there. I mean, that's just my personal basis on different supplementations. Like I said, just keynotes. Make sure it is part of dieting. It's not something that takes over dieting. Don't think that it's going to be, you know, the key to success when it comes to developing your body, because it's not. And be consistent with it, and just make sure you do a little bit more research of yourself on what you're buying and what you're spending your money on. One thing I like doing is going into different supplement shops and questioning the employees there, and kind of just to see how much they know, because a lot of times you'll have them say something about one product and you already know what's in the product and how it works, and they just kind of look like an idiot because they don't have, I guess, a full grasp, and they're just simply marketers there. So yeah, always do research yourself, and yeah, I guess just try out. Like, personally, I'm the kind of person who likes trying different stuff out and seeing, you know, what it does for me as an individual. Alright, that's going to conclude this video, guys. If you guys have any other questions, you can shoot me an email at Instagram at WatsonAlexander. This is Gare Bear Fitness out. Stay shredded, guys.